When psychotherapist Lori Gottlieb's first book, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, hit the shelves in 2019, it was a groundbreaking success. Not only did it take us inside her practice as a therapist, but we also went behind the scenes into her own experiences as a therapy patient. Now she's come out with a companion journal, a thought-provoking exercise that unfolds in 52 weekly sessions.
I did the journal because when the book came out, so many people said that they highlighted and underlined so many different quotes from the book. They put them on their bathroom mirrors, they put them over their desk, and they wanted one place where they could kind of synthesize all of the things that resonated with them in the book. And so I wanted to give them, first of all, I believe in the power of journaling. I think journaling is so helpful to clarify your thoughts. Some people do it first thing in the morning to kind of get their day started. It only takes 5 minutes. And you can do it at night before you go to bed. You write down everything. And then when you put your head on the pillow, you're not spinning with all of those thoughts. And I wanted to do it like a therapy session. So you get a prompt every week. It's 52 weeks. It takes you through the year. The new year is coming up. And it helps you to think about that prompt, and kind of like a therapy session, you go to therapy, you have an insight about something, and then you kind of noodle on it during the week and you kind of try different things with it. That's what you do in the journal. And by the end of the journal, by the end of that year, you can look back and see how much progress you've made, or how you were thinking like, oh, 6 months ago it was like this, but now look at how things are.
I think a guided journal really can help someone go through their own way, especially I think what really kind of meant so much to me about this book is that it's actually really hard, I think, for some people to find a clinician right now, to find therapy. There's so many wait lists. I know here in Seattle, it's a real issue. So I feel like, while this isn't a replacement for therapy, it's a good start. And, you say in the journal, most big transformations come about from hundreds of tiny, almost imperceptible steps we take along the way. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of people, when you think about New Year's is coming up, and a lot of people make these New Year's resolutions, and they're very big kinds of things, very big behavioral changes. I'm going to switch jobs, or I'm going to change the way I eat and exercise, or I'm going to, do all these different things, or I'm going to move, whatever it is. They're big things, and you don't just make changes like that. There's a chapter in Maybe You Should Talk to Someone called How Humans Change, and it takes you through the series of steps that you go through when you make change. And I think that we don't recognize those tiny, almost imperceptible steps that we take along the way. And I get to see them as a therapist. When I see people in therapy, I see every week those tiny, almost imperceptible steps that build up and taken together lead to that change that people want. And when you do a journal, you actually have a record of those tiny, imperceptible steps. Like, hey, I got into an argument with my partner this week, but look, I responded differently. And then you can build on those. But if you ignore those tiny steps, you think, oh, I'll never change, or that person will never change, or our relationship will never change, until you actually see it written down.
Something struck me as I was going through the book. It was the metaphor of the bars and jail, and basically how there are no bars to the left and right, only the bars we see in our face, and it's impossible to walk around those bars. Now, for me, and I think some of the things that we all get stuck on, is it's easier said than done, right? How do you approach this and not feel like a failure when you just can't get to a certain point? You can't get around those bars, or you feel like you're stuck somewhere. How do you continue to move forward and not feel like a failure?
Yeah, this came from a conversation with my own therapist, where he said to me, you remind me of a cartoon, and it's of a prisoner shaking the bars, desperately trying to get out. But on the right and the left, it's open. No bars. So why do we not see that it's open? And then if we do see that it's open, why do we have so much trouble walking around the bars? And what I want to do in the journal is I want to help people to see the ways in which they keep themselves stuck. We all do it. We just don't notice that we're doing it. And it's not to say that there aren't external circumstances out there that are getting in our way, but sometimes we are getting in our way. And so the journal can help you to clarify that. And I think in the journal, there are different ways that it does that. So there are prompts, there are exercises, and there are
Yeah.
also coloring pages, because some people think in pictures.
Yeah.
And so there's all different ways that you can kind of access that little voice inside, that place of knowing that we all have, but it gets drowned out by all the noise out there, what our family says we should do, what our friends say we should do, what the culture says we should do,
Yeah.
but nobody gets to live our lives but us.
Yes.
And so the journal, I think, helps you to see, what is it that I want? How am I getting in my own way? How can I clarify what I need? And how do I get there?
So I'm going to totally do this journal, and I'll let you know how it goes.